Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So I want to talk about resentment. Bitterness and resentment to me are kind of similar. If you look up the definition of bitterness, resentment is in there. And if you look up the definition of resentment, bitterness is in there. So the words are tied together. When you define what resentment is, and I had to write it down so I could remember. You have emotions that are tied to it. So when you're feeling resentful or bitter, that's a combination of or one of these emotions: anger, disgust, disappointment. I thought that was interesting. And fear. So anger, disgust, disappointment, and fear are the four emotions that make up resentment or bitterness. And it's always important to understand what's going on with us when we're feeling a certain way. Sometimes when you're resentful, you might be justified. Psychiatrists will tell you that resentment is a natural emotion and can help you. Because when you're resentful or bitter, you feel like you've been wronged, oppressed, stepped on, something's happened, betrayed, whatever. And you have to ask yourself in those moments, when you're identifying how you feel, you have to ask yourself, am I being fucked with and I need to stand up for myself? Or am I just being a little bitch? Am I just being a little kid, a little whiny, little brat, and I need to toughen up, I need to grow up? Sometimes someone might be fucking with you. And that resentment you feel, that bitterness you feel, that hostility, that's your inner warrior calling out, saying, man, don't take this. Say something, stand up, walk away, whatever it takes. We can't let resentment go on in relationships. It ruins relationships. We can't let it go on in us because it'll ruin us. When we are resentful, it can turn into a generational curse. An angry, resentful father will raise angry, resentful kids. That shit's in the Bible. Go read the story of Cain and Abel. Resentment really is something that I've battled with, and bitterness. I've battled with this for a long time, and I still do. There's still people that I feel resentful towards, bitter towards. People in my own family, people in my past. Thinking about that shit can turn me from the sweet, good, new version of myself, like a light switch, back into the old, angry, hateful version of myself. When I recognize that, I have to realize, okay, look, this kind of negativity is not good, right? We need to be able to move on from the past, right? We've all heard this. I talk about this in many of my videos. We need to heal from the past. When we're stuck in the past, it's usually because we haven't healed from it. A lot of times, resentment and bitterness can be dealt with simply through forgiveness. You've heard the saying, forgive quickly and anger slowly. Something like that. You want to be able to forgive people who have wronged you. Forgive your enemies. I don't care if they've shot at you. Forgive people who have shot at you. I don't care if you've been through the ringer. That woman dumped you, took all your money, took your kids. Forgive her. And forgive yourself. The weakling doesn't understand. The weakling is like, fuck that shit, man. This takes strength. This is how you build strength. Forgiveness is a hard topic. I think we set ourselves up for failure sometimes when it comes to terms of like how we navigate through life. Well, especially with relationships with people, we can have a lot of expectations in our relationships with others. Expectations of other people's behavior and who they should be, who we think they should be, I guess I should say. And we have a lot of expectations of outcomes, just in general. And obviously a lot of our outcomes are beneficial to us, trying to create our lives into a little utopia. And those expectations can sabotage our happiness because we almost never really fulfill that fantasy. And this is kind of what going with the flow is all about when you hear about this in Taoism. And it's not an apathetic way of going through life, it's just a way of not controlling, because when you have all these expectations, you're trying to control the outcome. And we can't control the outcome. We know that life is random. And all you can do as a warrior is to have a lot of knowledge, have a couple good weapons, and you just kind of say your prayers and you walk into battle, the battle of life, and whatever happens, happens. I mean, that's kind of why they call it a game. When we become bitter and resentful, it can lead you to this kind of world of evil. Like I think of Gollum in The Lord of the Rings. That's an extreme case of it. That's what you end up like. And there's other things in there with him with greed. But if you remember Gollum's backstory as Smeagol, he had this whole backstory of betrayal, I guess with him and his brother or something like that. Some Lord of the Rings head out there could tell the whole story. I just vaguely remember it. So Gollum had a lot of problems, and there's this level of hatred and anger, spite. Maybe that can be attached to disappointment, it can be attached to trauma, attached to fear, but those types of negative emotions will fertilize your resentment. Negativity breeds negativity. It grows upon that energy. So we want to cut that off when we want to be able to cultivate our purity. Purity, being more pure of heart. Cures that resentment. And it's not simply finding a lost innocence, because I have problems with that. I'm not sure if you can truly regain innocence unless you start looking at what innocence is. If you change it as you get older, your idea of innocence changes. So I don't know if cultivating purity is necessarily regaining innocence, but it's like washing a dirty towel, you know? And you wash your clothes every week. Thank God you don't have to buy new clothes every week. We can just wash them, and a dirty shirt can become clean again. It just takes a little bit of work. I think that's what this mind, body, and soul program that I like to promote really helps to develop, is a sense of purity, a sense of virtue. maybe it is regaining innocence in a way, but you don't become stupid, because that's how I hate when people talk about regaining innocence. It's almost like they want to be a kid again, and I don't want to be some little dumbass little kid again that people take advantage of, because that's what happened to me when I was a kid. I'm trying to be smart. I'm trying to be wise. Wisdom is how you survive. Stupid people don't survive. At least they don't survive well. Wisdom survives well, even out in the jungle, in the woods. Wisdom survives well. But you can't be wise, in my opinion, truly wise, without purity, because the anger will cloud your mind. Let's stay with the Lord of the Rings analogy. Think of Gandalf, right? Gandalf had a certain purity to him, but Gandalf was no sucker. That motherfucker was wise. Wiser than people realized. But he had a level of purity to him, and honesty, and virtue. We need to cultivate that within ourselves. I think one of the ways that we do that is by remaining in the here and now, staying grounded in now, staying productive in your mind, body, and soul, daily activities, your daily discipline now, right now. And when you're always in the now, what am I doing right now? Mind, body, and soul, daily discipline. I'm somewhere in there. And everything in my life is encompassed in that. Taking care of family, putting food on the table, everything from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep is encompassed in a mind, body, and soul daily discipline life. And you've ritualized your whole life. I have another video about turning routine into ritual. And we stay in the here and now. You're working out. I'm focused on pushing that weight in this rep by rep. And it's all about each rep. I'm not thinking about the end of the workout. I'm not thinking about the 5th set, 6th set. I'm just thinking about this rep that I'm doing. Pushing that weight in the right range of motion with the perfect form. That's all that matters. Right there. Incrementally, you get to the 6th set. You finish that workout. Incrementally. You get to your goals incrementally. You stay in the here and now. And you don't have to focus on the past or have anxiety to the future. So depression is the past, anxiety is the future, but resentment is typically tied to a past experience, negative process, a negative processing. We've stored a negative file in our data banks from something in the past, and to stay grounded, to move beyond it. You need to remind yourself that even if somebody harmed you, so you had something bad happen to you when you were a kid, something really traumatic. I'm not saying that was good. It's fucked up. It never should have happened, but it did. And you got there anyways. You made it anyways. You survived. You still got there. And I try to tell myself this, because I felt like that I've been victimized. Nothing has been my fault. I was born homeless. I didn't ask for that shit. Would have liked to have been born rich. But I made it anyways. So it's a trick to letting things go. The final thing I want to talk about as far as getting rid of resentment is be a blessing to others. When you stop thinking so much about yourself, because that's what resentment and bitterness is you're dwelling on yourself, and I didn't get what I wanted. It didn't go my way. It's a me masturbation. You're just jacking off thinking about that stuff. That's what that is. It's not even fun masturbation. So we can take ourselves out of the forefront of the camera, out of being the focus, and we can help others and put your attention on someone else. And that's what life is really about. Especially as men, we always have to remind ourselves that life isn't about us, it's about other people. And that'll stop us from being little bitches. Because I find with myself that a lot of times this resentment is just me being a whiny little bitch. It's food for thought. I could go on and on, but the video is getting too long. Thanks for watching.